Go ahead and record. Well, good morning, everyone. It's 8:30, so let's go ahead and begin. And we're very honored to have, once again, Dr. Hilary Hungerford from the Department of Earth Science, College of Science, um, with us today to speak about Fulbright. She has been a Fulbright scholar in Mongolia this past, actually, it was this year? No, last year. It was last year.
Yeah,
And she was there for, I believe, 6 months. Is that how long you were there?
Yeah.
And so she has become our main liaison when it comes to Fulbright to provide information. So what we'll do is, since I believe the applications are due in September, Hilary felt that this would be a good opportunity for everyone to meet, to gather information, to ask any questions. Um, Someone is recording this session. I hope that is Diana, because we would like to make sure that everyone has access to this information. We'll be posting it on our website for those individuals who have not attended this event this morning. So without further ado, I guess we're going to go ahead and begin, and I'm just going to turn over the time to Hilary. And good luck, Hilary. Make sure that you folks ask a lot of questions to Hilary. She knows it all. So thank you, Hilary, for doing this once again.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It's a great time to think about this stuff because you have all summer to kind of work on your ideas. So first in the chat, I uploaded my Fulbright application so you can see what it looks like. And then I have just a brief presentation and then we'll go to the website. Sound good? Okay, so you should be able to see my screen. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Oh, whoops, I'm there. Okay. So just really quick, I was going to tell you a little bit about me, a little bit about Fulbright, and then we'll look at the different types of Fulbrights and then really go to the website and I'll show you how to navigate the website. So as Baldomero said, I had a Fulbright to Mongolia last year, and this is me and my kids at the famous Genghis Khan statue. So I had a teaching-focused Fulbright, and I was in country from January to July, and I taught seminars on sustainability, and also I was invited by a number of student groups to talk about studying in the USA and scholarship opportunities. At UVU, I had a 1-semester sabbatical. And then just a little bit about my background, how I got interested in kind of global work. I was a Peace Corps volunteer after my undergrad, and then I had a Fulbright Hayes Fellowship for my PhD to do research in Niger. Okay, so what is Fulbright? Fulbright is an international academic exchange program founded in 1946. And it's really focused on increasing mutual understanding and support friendly and peaceful relations between the US and other countries. So it's kind of this soft diplomacy, sometimes people call it. So it is a research opportunity, it is a scholarship opportunity, but beyond that, it's also an cultural exchange, and that's something that's really important for the Fulbright organization. So the basic requirements, you do have to be a US citizen and you have to be able to travel overseas. So if you're selected as a semifinalist, you do have to go through a medical clearance and also a legal clearance. And then you have to be interested in other countries and other cultures, which I think we all share that. So that's an easy one. So I'm going to talk to you about the U.S. Scholar Program. And these are the more longer term. They're kind of anywhere, usually from 4 to 10 months. and it's current faculty, administrators, and even experienced professionals. But the Fulbright Scholar Program, you can apply for teaching ones, research ones, or a combination of teaching and research. The Fulbright Specialist Program, I have not done. This is a little bit different. These are shorter term opportunities where you kind of apply to a pool and you share your expertise. And then if someone is looking for that expertise, you can be called to different opportunities. A really big difference between these two, the US Scholar Program is you choose the country that you want to focus on. And then the specialist program is really about your expertise, and you could be kind of sent anywhere in the world. It's pretty exciting. Okay, so applications are always due September 15th. And one reason it's kind of good to start thinking about this now is many applications require a letter of invitation from a university and country. So this gives you a few months to work on that. And I did not know anyone in Mongolia. I just kind of asked everyone in my network, like, who knows someone, who knows someone, who knows someone. And that's how I got a letter, but it did take a little bit of time. So if you're thinking about it, this is a good time to kind of start working on those. So, okay, I'm going to go to the website now. So here is the Fulbright website. So this is, if you just Google like Fulbright Scholar, it'll take you there, but maybe I'll put the link in the chat too. So this is the landing page. So then you go to US Scholars, and then it kind of talks about the different opportunities. So we're just going to look at like the Fulbright Scholar Awards. So once you click on that, you get to like the giant list of awards that are available. So it's, I find it best to narrow down your search here. I mean, if you want to, you can just browse like the many, many things available. You can also search over here by country or by region. There's some grants that let you go to multi-countries, like if you want to do some comparative research in a few different countries, you can do that. Or if you know your discipline. Also, it can be useful if you know that you don't speak a language other than English. You can just peruse by the ones that don't have another language requirement. So which I find it easiest to like pick a country maybe and explore the opportunities there. So does anyone have a country that we should explore? Should I pick? Okay, I'll pick. I was thinking about maybe applying to Benin someday or Bhutan. I bet Bhutan would be awesome. Let's look at that one. Okay, so I'm going to look at the awards in Bhutan. So then what comes up is they take teaching and teaching slash combination of teaching research. So this one doesn't just have a research opportunity. So you click on the award title and it gives you all the information here. It says the award length is 10.5 months, when you would need to start, and then kind of sometimes they have specific disciplines that they're really hoping to get. So the award activity, it gives you more details about what the country is looking for and location details. And then it's really helpful to say, okay, what are the requirements for the award? Because this is going to be language requirements and other things. So, okay, all US citizens are eligible. You don't need to get an invitation letter. That's nice. You should not make direct inquiries. Okay. So language is good here. All teaching will be in English. And then they have some other requirements here.
Hilary,
And
can
then
we ask question right now or later?
do it now, sure.
Okay, so let's say if we want to go to this country
Yeah.
or any country, do we need to choose the country first and then ask for the
Yes.
invitation letter? Or I'm assuming we need to find a good country on this website and then
Yeah.
looking for an invitation letter, right?
Yeah, so this one is kind of interesting because it says you don't need an invitation letter. But yes, with the Fulbright Scholar, you need to choose which country you're looking for, or if you're kind of open to different countries, you can say,
Like
okay, I want to
for this,
maybe, yeah.
sorry, Larry, for this one, does it mean like we can just apply and this program would send us to any school? How would that work, like without any invitation?
I know it looks like so Bhutan is like a kingdom, so I'm guessing that's why they don't want you to have it's like a monarchy and it's tiny. So I'm guessing that's why in Bhutan at least they're like, no, we're just gonna choose you if we want you and we'll send you where we want you.
Okay, okay,
That's what I'm guessing.
okay.
So the award benefits are really important because it'll tell you your monthly allowance that you get, and then how much you'll get for travel and reallocation. So Fulbright pays your travel to get there. And then like maybe they'll pay for extra baggage and stuff like that. And then if they offer dependent benefits, so if that means if you're going with your spouse or your family, do they offer benefits? Like when I was in Mongolia, my kids went to the international school there and Fulbright paid for it. So that was listed here in these additional dependent benefits. Okay, so maybe let's explore, like maybe not by country, but we could explore by discipline.
And while you're doing that, Hilary,
Yeah.
so for this country, they listed the topics or disciplines.
Yeah.
So if we don't see the discipline that we are in, is it worth applying or just not even trying?
You could like reach out to them. A lot of times they have pretty specific things they want.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So should we look by a discipline? Does anyone want to try
Hilary,
theirs?
yeah, Hilary, just a little comment. Certainly, there are countries that are more challenging to be able to go than others. I mean, if all of a sudden you want to do a Fulbright in Paris, I think it's going to be a little more difficult than if you select
Yeah.
Bhutan, right? So, and then is challenging again, not only on the country but also on the discipline, as you said, Violeta. But yeah,
Yeah.
thank you, Hilary.
Okay, so I'm going to look at like environmental studies, see what kinds of countries are interested in that. So if you're like, oh, I'll kind of go wherever, and you just want to look at your discipline, you can look by discipline. So Austria, Canada, Chile. Which one should we look at? Do we want to go to Iceland? Oh, let's go to the Maldives. That'd be amazing. Okay, so this one, it lists different. You can do research, you can do teaching and research. And then, oh, it's 3 to 4 months. So that's kind of a shorter one. And then it lists all the disciplines that they're kind of looking for. And then it'll tell you, look, there's usually only one recipient that gets this.
Hilary, can we apply for more than one countries at a time?
No,
Okay, good to know.
that's tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, you kind of you can do the next year, but you can only have one at a time. Yeah. So let's see our award requirements. Okay, so this one, it says an invitation letter is preferred. So you're encouraged to contact prospective hosts and local academics. So that's why in this case, it's like, okay, if I know I want to go here, I'm going to try to just like Google and anything I can find to try, unless you already have contacts, just try to find them. That can sometimes, if you don't already know people, that could be a tricky part. That's why the summer is nice.
Is it okay to get a letter from any professors, or that should be something like an administrator, or I don't know, some kind of higher ups? Like,
oh, I think just a professor is fine. I got a letter from a professor, but it was also signed by the department chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think it was maybe even signed by the dean. I'm sure that is better. But yeah. Okay, so let's see like our benefits this. Okay, look, the research allowance or the teaching allowance. That must mean that housing is like pretty expensive here because the monthly allowance is really high. So Fulbright's pretty generous. I don't like they really cover most of your expenses, which is really nice. And then the different benefits, and then any like special award things. Okay, so you can see on my application that I uploaded to the chat that it's a long application and you have to be pretty focused. Can everyone see in the chat my application that I uploaded? So they ask you, your experience, and they're really, really important to communicate your like cross-cultural competency and how you work in other cultures, because that's this part of the program that is really like cultural exchange just beyond your project. You're kind of a spokesperson of the United States when you're there, in many ways. So I'm happy to answer questions now, or I can keep showing you things. What are we wanting to do? Do y'all have questions, or?
Can I ask another question?
Of course.
How would that work on the UVU end? Like, do we need to do anything before application when it comes to UVU? So do we need to get permission from our department or dean or UVU?
That's a good question. So yeah, because sometimes when you apply for external grants, you have to go through the Office of Sponsored Programs. You don't have to do that for Fulbright, but you need to make sure that either you can take leave or you can get a sabbatical during the time. So it's a good idea to talk to your programs and department chairs, deans about it. So if you're submitting this year, you submit in the fall. And then usually you hear in like March or April when it's going to start. So if you're doing a year long, that would start, in the next August. So if you know you're going to apply, it's a good idea if you want to take sabbatical to apply for that at the same time. Okay. And then hopefully it all works out. So the review process for Fulbright is kind of a two-tiered system. There's first the US review, which is a panel of folks who have gotten Fulbrights. And so it's kind of like the first peer review. So your application is screened by them, and they want to see that your project is well developed, your ideas make sense, that you're also like you demonstrate your cultural competence and your preparedness. So if you pass the first round, they'll tell you about, usually in like December or so, that congratulations, we are forwarding your application on to the country. So then like everyone who applies for Fulbright for a particular country is sent to the embassy, the US embassy in that country. And then they kind of look at all the applicants and choose which one they want to invite and which projects they're kind of hoping to get. So in that way, it can be really difficult because like you can have, everything's great, but if the US Embassy wants to emphasize this other project, then that's what they're gonna do. It's kind of their choice. So that can be a really difficult part of applying to Fulbright because you can have like an amazing application, but it's just not the right time for the country you applied for. And you find out, about March, late March or so.
Hey, Hilary, there's a question in the chat
Okay, great.
by Olga, and she's asking for the teaching, was it a course you suggested or a course that they needed to be taught?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So I reached out to, I activated my network and I found someone in Mongolia that was willing to talk with me. And they had me send a list of classes that I could teach or the types of things that I do. And then based on that, they were like, oh yeah, we have a need in these kinds of things. I was also really careful. I didn't want to teach an existing class because that would mean that somebody there might not have a job, that semester. So I was like, I don't want to necessarily take away someone's job, but like if there's something extra that I could add during my time. So that's kind of how we worked it out in Mongolia. And I've heard from other folks, like I knew someone who went to Laos and they had a very structured program that they wanted him to do while they were there. So there is like a lot of variability. You need to be able to be flexible and be able to pivot if it's not what you expected when you get there.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for the question. I also saw, Magana, you had your hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I was kind of asking, in my head, there were two questions. One was like, what kind of support do you get just being a Fulbright fellow from Fulbright itself? But also now that you've completed it, it's been a while, what are some of the, apart from like obviously doing going through the process and learning so much, how are you able to use that time that you committed to Fulbright in your professional kind of life right now?
Yeah, that's good. Wait, tell me the first question again. I was like thinking so much about that. Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. I shouldn't ask two questions together, I guess.
Oh, it's fine.
It was more about like what kind of support does
support.
Fulbright offer to you?
Yeah. So that's a really good question. So Fulbright, once you get it, you go through like an orientation in the summer where they tell you everything to know, and you usually get to meet other people who are going to your same country. So with Fulbright, there's the Fulbright Scholars. There's also the ones that are more aimed towards graduate students or recent. It can be undergrad, but most of them are graduate students. So the Fulbright Research Grants. So you'll get to meet them. And there's also Fulbright English Teaching Assistants that are generally recent college graduates, but you're all in training together. So you can meet them and network. And once you're in the country, I think can vary. Like in terms of embassy support on the ground, there's really not much. They want you to rely on your host institution. That was one thing that was sometimes frustrating. Like I emailed my contact at the U.S. Embassy in Mongolia when I was getting ready to go. I was like, so, like, do you help me find an apartment or can you pick me up from the airport? And they're like, no, your host institution needs to do that. So it can be a big ask for your host institution. So you are very independent when you're there, but like in case of emergency, sure, the embassy is there to help. Also, they do like invite you to be part of some things. Like we went to the embassy, American Embassy 4th of July party. It's this like big party. It was super fun. And sometimes they have special visitors that they want like the Fulbright people to meet. But I think you're as independent as you want to be. So if you don't want to ever talk to the embassy, you don't really have to. And yeah, I think they can support if you really need it, but you're pretty independent. Yeah.
That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. So the second part, how is Fulbright kind of after I'm done, how has it helped? Well, it's definitely helped my classes. I teach, geography and kind of environment classes. And I've been able to incorporate a lot of things that I learned into there. It was like just as a scholar and a teacher, I have a wider view of things, and that's been super helpful. There's also some small grant programs that you can apply for as a returned Fulbright. I just applied to one. It's called the Citizen Diplomacy Action Fund. So you can do short-term projects. So there are opportunities to network with other Fulbrighters too and kind of expand your network. And I mean, it was personally so great to have just some time away from the grind at UVU and a little bit of time to refocus on like really what I think is important and what I really care about, and also just, getting like refreshed. That was great, I think.
Thank
I
you.
need
Yeah.
it. I need it again already.
Next sabbatical. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Adam?
Is there any formal expectations that you need to meet after your program? Like, do you need to write a report or anything else? Something like that.
Yeah, there is a small report you have to do. Well, also, if you have a sabbatical from UVU, you have to write a small sabbatical report. And then, yeah, Fulbright asks a small report, and they have a survey that it's kind of a long survey. It's like takes 30, 45 minutes to complete. That's like a program evaluation. And then I feel like every 3 months I get another survey that I'm supposed to take about like assessing kind of this like, okay, you're back now. How has this experience
Yeah.
continued to help?
Thank you.
Yeah.
There's another question on the chat by Adam. Is there a list of information for high need countries? And how can we find out more about information about those?
I mean, I don't think so. Like countries that have like want more Fulbrighters. I don't really
Do you want
know.
to expand that more, Adam? I feel
Yeah,
like
I mean, like, how can we find out those countries wanting more Fulbright professors, or maybe how can we find out more information from the US, and like maybe US would like to send more people to some certain countries. Can we find out those countries or more information about those things?
The only way I can think about doing that is like if you search by your discipline on the website, and then that'll show you the kind of where people are needed in your discipline.
And also they have workshops every month. If you sign up
They
by
do.
continent and they share some ideas, which one would be more competitive than others. So you may get some ideas like that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mhm.
Thank you, Mia.
Violetta, you have your hand up?
Yes, I will be. I have been searching what you showed us for the disciplines, and I found out that many of the ones that have math in it, they are offering professional project award. Are you aware about that one or not?
No, I don't know what that one is.
And
But
I'm
it's
trying to
under the
read, but it's
it's under the
confusing.
like scholar one. I'll dig into it a little bit and let you know.
Right.
But I don't.
So I choose the scholar one, and when I
Yeah.
open the country when they list that they have mathematics, for example, many
Yeah.
of them they have professional project, and then research, teaching, research. And I was wondering if you know more, but that's fine. I'll try
No,
to
I don't
research
know
more.
more. The only thing I can think about if it would be like you're like training teachers there. Like if
Oh.
you would be training
Mhm.
like professional development aimed towards people there. So it's not, I guess it would be teaching, but it'd be more like not just teaching a class, like having a training for future math teachers or something.
Mhm.
Maybe that's it. Sorry. I'll
No,
look.
that's fine. Thank you.
Yeah, I really encourage anyone to apply and go for it. It was such a good experience.
Hilary, a quick
Yeah.
question for you. I know that we haven't discussed this at all, but probably somebody may wonder, with the current political climate and shortage of funding and perhaps the elimination of the Department of Education and so forth. How is Fulbright being funded, and do you feel that there will be some implications, financially speaking, to any applicant that may want to, pursue a Fulbright? And I'm saying this because I know how rigorous the application process is.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to apply multiple times. The first time you
Yeah.
don't get it, the second time you don't get it, and the third time you may get it, right? To go through all that effort, knowing that, well, we don't know what's going to go with the funding. I foresee that Fulbright is under a foundation, so I think funding could be a little more secure. But
Mhm.
what has been your experience in
Yeah,
that sense?
I think everyone's kind of wondering that. Like the first thing, the Fulbright Scholar Awards and other like the Fulbright English teaching assistants and stuff, those are through the Department of State. So the Department of Ed funds the Fulbright Hayes Research Grant, and that's just for PhD students, and that has been eliminated, sadly. But as far as I know, funding right now for the Fulbright Scholar is in place. I have a friend right now who is on Fulbright in Senegal, and their payments were paused for like a month, but they've resumed. And everything that we hear says to go forward. That said, I know that this administration is looking for projects that emphasize certain things. Like, for example, this Citizen Diplomacy Action Fund. I got an email this week that said, oh, congratulations, you're a semifinalist, but we have some follow-up questions that we want to make sure your project is in line with the administration's priorities. So definitely think about that as you're applying to a country. Things that are, like kind of we all know that the DEI stuff is not, that kind of language is not prioritized right now. So if your project is about that, you can guarantee almost it's not going to get funding. So think about talking about your project in a way that aligns with the priority of the current administration. But as far as I know, and I don't know, but it seems like most people are thinking that it will continue at least for now. And one reason I think that it might continue to, I read in the news this, there were like ideas of trying to encourage folks to have more kids and stuff. You maybe read that news this week. And one of the recommendations in there was saying, oh, we'll reserve 30% of Fulbright grants for people with families. I was like, oh, that means that Fulbright is still staying if we're prioritizing it in these other ways. And it's been a nonpartisan institution, for close to 100 years, 80 years. So I have a lot of hope and a lot of faith that it will continue. But certainly a question. I would just keep checking the website or you can sign up on the website. And so you'll get emails like, oh, it's done. So like, okay, won't waste my time applying anymore.
Do we have any additional questions, maybe?
Can I ask Mia if you're able to post the link where we can sign for those workshop that you mentioned?
Yeah, let me find it. I signed up at some point and they are keeping sending me the links whenever they have workshops. So I don't know where I signed up. Let me find it. I'll share it with you.
Thank you.
No problem.
I also wanted to mention, I noticed there's also a staff that has joined us in this meeting. So what are some of the opportunities also for staff members to apply for Fulbright?
That's a great question. I have no idea, but I should educate myself on that. I know there's some for like administration, and I would say likely this like the short-term ones might be a good fit. A lot of the Fulbright scholar that a PhD is required. So as you peruse the country list, it has requirements by country, and I'm sure not all of them have a PhD required.
That's great. So under the so they're the short term. So just look through the short term ones then.
Yeah, I don't know. You could peruse the Google or the scholar website too and see.
Okay, that's perfect. Thank you. Any other questions for Hilary?
Violeta. Oh, you're muted.
I know, it's the story of my life. So, by your opinion, and if anyone is aware of this, is it easier to apply only, are the chances better if you're only applying for teaching or this teaching / research awards? Do you have any insight in that?
I have heard that the Just Research Awards can be very difficult to get. So if you do the combined teaching and research is better than research. As far as if it's just teaching or teaching and research, I'm not sure if there is a difference. I know if you at least include teaching, it's usually better. Yeah. Also, the research awards a lot of times have more language requirements because there's a lot of, I guess, institutions that have English things in English. Like in Mongolia, I taught classes in English.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have another question, maybe last, maybe not. So Once you are accepted, or maybe before acceptance, how would you pick, or how would they pick what you're gonna teach? Like, uh, do they have certain courses that you could teach? How that works?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's really up to your host institution. And Fulbright really does rely on those things. Like the embassy there is not going to tell you you need to do these things. The embassy is going to say, well, you have a letter of invitation and an agreement with an institution. So it's up to you guys to decide what you want to do. So in my case, I tried to kind of get that settled before I went, but that didn't really happen. So I got there and settled in, and then we kind of worked out what exactly I was going to do. So I'm sure it really varies depending on where you go. But that's why like you really need to be able to be flexible. Because, I mean, we know sometimes too, the institutions change. Like maybe there's a thing you can fill in for last minute that they really need. So, like going in with an idea of what you want to do, but being open to your institution's demands for you. Like, I never thought I would be like basically teaching about how to study in the US, but that's what students wanted. So a lot of student groups invited me to give seminars on like, oh, what university is like in the US, what are scholarships like, those kind of things. So you have to be flexible and be willing.
Thank you.
Yeah. I also there's in a lot of countries there's like an American corner, like an English language club that's sponsored by the embassy. So I gave a few like American culture presentations there. That was really fun. So it was just open to anyone who wants to come. So I gave the most attended one I gave a cultural presentation about Taylor Swift. And there was like 75 people there. It was so fun.
Did you have to sing like her too?
Oh gosh, no. But that's why it's like, it's more than just your research or your teaching. Like sometimes the embassy will want you to, participate in like fun American culture things.
And that would be another question. Like, I'm an American citizen, but I'm not a Native American. Do you think that
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, embassy would consider Native Americans more. Do you think?
No. If you're an American citizen, you're American. So like we're all, if you're a citizen, like you're as American as someone like me, whose family just happens to be here a longer time. And I mean, that would be interesting too, right? For people to learn about like, oh, what is it like to be in a country that welcomes people from all around the world? Like that's super valuable.
I mean, yes, but from the embassy point of view, they would like to pick someone who's native. I don't know.
I don't think so.
In this political climate, I don't know.
Well, I mean, yeah, there's lots of questions about that. But I mean, the embassy doesn't know if I've only been a citizen for like 5 years or if you have. I mean, I guess maybe they could check, but I don't think so.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like I do understand. I'm not trying to trivialize the question. I do understand like where it comes from, but I mean, my hope is that like you're a citizen, that means you're American. That's the beauty of the US, right? Is that like we have great like a country that welcomes lots.
Great.
Thank you. I just wanted to mention, Mia just posted in the chat a link about some webinars that you can sign up for. So if you want to take a look into that, that will be also another resource.
Yeah, those are very useful. I went to some of those too. And I'm happy to read anything over your essays or applications. I had friends read over mine that applied before and were successful, so that was really helpful.
Great. Well, if we don't have any more questions or any more additional information, I think the information that Mia actually has shared with all of us, I think is relevant. And
Definitely.
And
thank you, Mia.
any final thoughts, questions before we end today? No? Well,
yes. Can
go
I
ahead.
say something?
Yes,
So
Aliki,
sorry,
go for it.
Sorry, I had to join later. I had already a scheduled appointment with the American Embassy in Bolivia for our project in Tiwanaku. A team of 7 of us, students and faculty, were going there in 10 days from now.
Oh,
so
amazing.
I apologize that I couldn't attend.
Good.
Is there a recorded video that I can watch?
Yes, we were recording it. So I think
you.
it was automatically recorded. So I'm guessing Diana will have that.
Yes, and I'll pass more information on how to access that link.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. And I apologize.
Maybe I may add, Aliki, we do have a web page, and in our web page that actually is under Faculty Resources, Fulbright. So if you go to the Global Engagement website, Faculty Resources, Fulbright, we will be posting some of those links as well as the video for everybody to have access to. Great. Well, wonderful. Well, thank you, Hilary, for the time you have taken it this morning to be with all of us. And thank you all for participating this morning and attending, and let us know how we can help. We are truly grateful to Hilary that she has become such a great resource for our institution. And I'm confident that if any of you has any questions moving forward, with her experience, I think she will be able to navigate through the process of the application and some of the other questions that probably we have left out this morning. So we were actually planning to do another session in September, although the deadline is September 15th, but it would be an interesting gathering right at the beginning of the semester to go back and who knows, maybe in September you start thinking about applying for the following year. So
Definitely.
those would be processes. But at any rate, we wish you well at this coming days of grading, and and have a wonderful end of the semester as well as a wonderful summer to all of you. Okay. Well, thank you, Hilary. Thank you all.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay.
Thank you.